Let's be honest. If you've ever felt totally confused, even a little bit hopeless about weight loss, you are definitely not alone. It's just this maze of conflicting advice, promises of miracle cures, and honestly, a whole lot of noise. But today, we're going to cut right through it. I mean, this just hits home, right? It feels so true for so many of us. You follow all the rules, you count every single calorie, and still, the results just don't stick. It is so easy to blame yourself, to feel like you failed. But what if it's not you? What if the whole game is rigged? So to get to the truth, we're going to turn to Dr. Giles Yeo. He's a geneticist at Cambridge University, and he has spent 2 decades, that's right, 20 years, studying the hard science of obesity. The best part? He's not selling you a new diet. He's just here to share the actual evidence-based facts about how our bodies really work. Okay, so where does this all start? Well, it begins with this constant, overwhelming flood of information we get hit with every single day, making it feel pretty much impossible to know what's actually right. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? You hear one expert say, go keto. The next one says, no, go plant-based. Then it's, eat a huge breakfast, followed by, wait, no, you should skip breakfast. This information overload can actually lead to something called orthorexia, which is an unhealthy obsession with eating correctly. It turns food, which should be about nourishment and joy, into a source of constant anxiety. All right, let's dive in and tackle the biggest myth in the entire dieting world, the all-powerful calorie. We've all had it drilled into our heads, as long as calories in are less than calories out, you're gonna lose weight. Sounds so simple. Well, as it turns out, the science says it's not simple at all. Dr. Yeo's point here is so critical. A calorie count tells you about quantity, for sure, but it tells you zero about the quality, the protein, the fiber, the nutrients, or how your body's actually going to use that energy. It's like judging a book by how many pages it has instead of what's actually written inside. And this brings us to this really important concept called calorific availability. See, the number you see on a food label, that's measured in a lab by literally burning the food and seeing how much heat it gives off. But here's the thing. Our bodies are not furnaces. We have this incredibly complex digestive system. So you end up with this huge gap between the number printed on the label and the number of calories your body actually absorbs and uses. And things we never even think about, like how much fiber is in the food, or even just how it's cooked, can completely change how much energy you get out of it. Dr. Yeo gives this perfect example. Just picture yourself eating a raw stick of celery, okay? It's pretty much all water and really tough fiber, which means your digestive system has to work super hard just to break it down. And after all that effort, your body only manages to squeeze about 6 calories out of it. It's such a tiny number, it's basically a rounding error. But now, let's take that exact same stick of celery, chop it up, and throw it into a stew. The heat and the water have already started breaking down all those tough fibers for you. It's almost like a form of pre-digestion before it even gets into your mouth. And suddenly, your body can absorb around 31 calories. That is 5 times more energy from the very same food. This one example just completely shatters that old idea that a calorie is just a calorie. It is so much more complicated than that. So, if we know counting calories is a flawed strategy, what about just the act of dieting itself? Well, it turns out the reason it feels like you're in a constant battle isn't a lack of willpower. The real fight is happening inside your own brain. Think about it. For literally thousands of years of human history, losing weight was a very bad sign. It meant starvation was near, and it was a direct threat to your survival. Your brain, which evolved in that feast or famine world, it hasn't quite caught up to our modern world of Uber Eats. So when it senses you're losing weight, it hits the panic button. And this is where your brain's secret sabotage plan kicks in. First, it floods your system with hunger hormones, making you think about food constantly. Then, at the exact same time, it sneakily slows down your baseline metabolism, so you're burning fewer calories just by existing. It's this powerful, two-pronged attack designed to get you back to what it thinks is your safe weight. And this is why the whole yo-yo diet thing is so incredibly common. It is not a moral failure, it's a biological response. The second you stop restricting, your brain's powerful survival instincts kick into high gear to restore the weight it was terrified you'd lost. So this brings us to another huge diet myth. The idea that somewhere out there, there's one perfect diet that works for everyone. We see it all the time. Keto, vegan, paleo, you name it. They're all marketed like they're the one true fix. But the science? It tells a very different story. Let's just take gluten-free as an example. The data shows that only about 1% of people have celiac disease. Maybe another 3 to 4% are genuinely intolerant to gluten. And yet, a staggering 25%, a quarter of people, are buying gluten-free products, mostly because they've been marketed as a healthier choice for everybody. That's a huge gap between medical need and a marketing trend. Or think about an orange. A glass of orange juice has a sugar concentration that's almost identical to a can of soda, and all that sugar hits your bloodstream in one big rush. But when you eat the whole orange, all that fiber acts like a gatekeeper, forcing your body to work to get the sugar out slowly. It's the same fruit, but it has a completely different impact on your body. Okay, so we have busted a lot of myths here. But here's the good news. Dr. Yeo doesn't just leave us there. He offers a much simpler, more sustainable way forward. It's a framework that you can apply no matter what your food preferences are. So instead of obsessing over every single calorie, Dr. Yeo suggests we just focus on 3 key things. Number 1, aim for about 16% of your daily energy to come from protein, because it's the nutrient that makes you feel the most full. Number 2, shoot for at least 30 grams of fiber every day. This feeds your good gut bacteria and slows down sugar absorption. And finally, number 3, keep your added sugar intake below 5% of your total energy. It's a simple shift that prioritizes the quality of your food over just the quantity. And finally, let's just zoom out for a second and reframe this entire conversation. Because the real goal shouldn't just be some number on a scale, right? It should be about long-term health and vitality, especially as we get older. Get ready for this statistic. Between the ages of 20 and 50, the average person gains about 15 kilos. That's 33 pounds. It happens for a lot of reasons, right? Our lives get busier, we tend to move less, and we naturally lose muscle mass over time. But it points to a really clear trend that we should probably be mindful of. So what's the single most powerful thing you can do to push back against this? The science is crystal clear. Build and maintain your muscle mass. More muscle means you have a higher metabolism, you have better blood sugar control, and you have better mobility as you age. It is the ultimate investment in your future self. The goal shouldn't just be to lose fat. It should be to get stronger. So what's the real takeaway from all of this? What if we just stopped obsessing over a number on a scale or the rules of whatever the latest fad diet is? What if instead we focused on building sustainable habits? Enjoying high-quality food, moving our bodies in ways we like, and building strength for all the years ahead. That's not a diet. That's a definition of health that's about thriving, not just surviving.